Everyone deserves access to work, school, food, nature, and healthcare. But data show that Black, brown, and indigenous people have less access to safe and convenient transportation and public spaces. Low-income communities have fewer sidewalks and crosswalks, so getting around without a car is often unsafe. But low-income people of color are least likely to have access to a car. On top of that, Black, Latinx, and indigenous people are over-policed on the streets and in public spaces. Land value is lower adjacent to highways and factories, meaning people who can't afford to live elsewhere suffer higher rates of respiratory illness and chronic health issues. It's not that a person or a community has made poor choices or failed to maintain their neighborhood. These conditions were built through decades of intentional funding and policy decisions, depriving communities of the resources they need. So, what influenced these funding and policy decisions? Here's the short version. The U.S. was built on the forced removal of indigenous people from their land and fueled by the labor of chattel slavery. From its founding, this country did not acknowledge the full humanity of Black and indigenous people. Policies designed to rebuild the economy after the Great Depression and World War II intentionally excluded Black communities and other communities of color. Even today, more resources flow to communities that are more affluent and more white. In zoning codes, sidewalk and bike infrastructure is often tied to newer development, which means new communities are more likely than older communities to get those resources. Infrastructure improvements are often driven by complaints, so people with the time, knowledge, and connections to influence public agencies decide where resources go. This system will continue benefiting people with generational wealth, access, and privilege, while excluding Black, brown, and indigenous people, unless we do something about it. The good news is, because we created these conditions through policy and funding decisions, we can use those same tools to address the ongoing effects of past injustice and meet current needs. What can you do? Support resources for communities that have been most harmed by past policy and funding decisions. Go to this link to learn more about how this story plays out in communities and what mobility advocates can do. Together, we can create safer, more equitable communities.